Ruby pressed her nose against the transport window, watching stars blur into lines. Her badger sat in her lap, his thick claws resting on her knee. 3 days of travel had brought them here, to the biggest place she had ever seen. "Look, Digger," she whispered. "We're almost there." The crossroads station filled the viewport, a massive wheel spinning slowly in the darkness. Lights dotted its surface like a city turned sideways. Ships of every shape clustered around it like moths around a lamp. Ruby had seen pictures, but pictures never showed how big things really were. Her mother touched her shoulder. "Ready, sweetie? Remember what we talked about?" Ruby nodded. "Be polite. Don't run. Stay close. And Digger stays with me always." Her father smiled from the pilot's seat. "That's my girl. Some of the species here have never seen humans before. They might stare." The transport docked with a soft thump. Ruby picked up Digger, feeling his solid weight in her arms. He was heavy for his size, all muscle under thick fur. His small eyes looked at everything with calm interest. The airlock opened. Sound rushed in, 100 conversations in languages that clicked and hummed and growled. Ruby stepped onto the station, her parents behind her. The corridor stretched ahead, wider than any street back home. Aliens moved in both directions, tall ones and short ones, furred and scaled, and some that seemed to be made of rocks. "Stay together," her father said. "We need to reach the diplomatic quarter." They walked into the main concourse. Ruby's eyes went wide. The ceiling arced high above, painted to look like a sky. Shops lined both sides, selling things she had never imagined. A floating cart drifted past, carrying glowing fruits. Music played somewhere, all drums and strange pipes. Digger shifted in her arms. She set him down but kept hold of his harness. He waddled beside her, his rolling gait making him look silly. Some aliens glanced at them, then looked away. Others stopped and stared. A group of tall creatures stood near a fountain. They looked like lizards that had learned to walk on 2 legs. Thick scales covered their bodies, deep green and black. Each one stood taller than Ruby's father. Claws tipped their fingers. Their eyes were yellow with split pupils. One of them moved into their path. The others shifted, forming a loose semicircle. Ruby's father stopped walking. His hand found her mother's arm. The lead creature looked down at them. Its mouth opened slightly, showing rows of sharp teeth. It wore armor made of dark metal, and a weapon hung at its belt. Scars marked its snout and neck. Other aliens in the concourse had gone quiet. Some moved away. Ruby looked up at the creature. It was looking at her, not her parents. Its head tilted, studying her. Then its eyes moved down to Digger. Digger looked back. He sat down, scratching behind his ear with a back leg. Then he yawned, showing his own teeth. The tall creature went very still. Its pupils expanded, black swallowing yellow. The scales around its neck lifted slightly. Its clawed hands opened and closed. The weapon at its belt remained untouched. Ruby waited. Her mother had taught her that different people had different ways of saying hello. Maybe this was how lizard people did it. The creature took one step backward, then another. Its companions did the same, creating a path down the middle of their group. None of them looked away from Ruby and Digger, but none of them moved closer either. Thank you," Ruby said. She walked forward, Digger waddling beside her. The creatures remained frozen as she passed between them. She could hear them breathing, quick and shallow. Once they were past, Ruby's father hurried them along. He did not look back. Her mother's hand was tight on her shoulder. They walked faster than before, weaving between other aliens who stepped aside without being asked. "What was that?" Her mother said quietly. "I don't know. Krell warriors. They run security here. They don't move for anyone, they move for us." Ruby looked back. The tall creatures still stood by the fountain. Others had gathered around them, talking in low voices. The lead one, the scarred one, was staring at its own hands like it had never seen them before. "Daddy, did I do something wrong?" Her father knelt down, checking her face. "No, baby. You were perfect. I just don't understand what happened." Digger tugged on his harness, wanting to explore a shop that smelled like food. Ruby followed him, already forgetting the strange encounter. There were so many new things to see. A toy shop sign glowed 3 streets over. Maybe her parents would let her look, just for a minute. Behind them, more aliens gathered around the Krell warriors. Questions flew in a dozen languages. Security cameras swiveled, recording everything. In a control room somewhere, an operator rewound the footage. Watching it again and again, a human child and a small Earth animal had walked past the station's most feared enforcers. The Krell had not just allowed it. They had moved aside. More than that, they had shown something the operator had never seen before. The Krell had been afraid. The room had no windows. It sat deep in the station's lower levels, where few visitors wandered. Water dripped somewhere in the darkness. The air smelled of oil and old metal. Broken Talon arrived first. His claws clicked on the floor as he paced. The scarred Krell warrior had not slept since his encounter with the human child. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw that small animal sitting down, yawning at him. His scales still rose at the memory. Silverfang entered next. The fanged one moved on 4 legs, her silver fur catching the dim light. She was old, her muzzle white with age, but her teeth were still sharp. Pack leader for 30 seasons, she commanded respect from even the youngest hunters. "You called this meeting," she said. Her voice came out rough, shaped by a throat not meant for common speech. "Explain, have you seen them?" Broken Talon asked. "The humans?" "I have seen 3 humans on this station. 2 adults. 1 young. The young one. With the animal?" Silverfang's ears flicked forward. "I saw them yesterday, walking past the feeding area. My hunters moved aside. Why?" The old fanged one sat, her tail curling around her legs. "I do not know. My body moved before my mind decided. It felt correct. Others arrived. Claw masters padded in on silent feet, their spotted fur making them hard to see in the shadows. Venom speakers slithered through a floor vent, their scales whispering against metal. Soon the room held representatives from every major predator species on the station. Broken Talon waited until all had settled. 3 days ago, I encountered the human child and her companion. They walked toward me. I intended to let them pass as I do for all visitors. But, Silverfang prompted, but I could not. My body would not allow it. I had to move. I had to create distance. A clawmaster named Quiet Step spoke. I felt the same. I was hunting in the market, tracking a thief. The human child walked by. I lost the scent. I lost everything except the need to watch her pass safely. "The animal," one of the Venom speakers hissed. "Small black and white fur. Thick build. What is it?" "Records say it is called a badger," Broken Talon said. "From the human homeworld." "And what is this world?" Broken Talon activated a display on the wall. Star charts appeared, then zoomed to a yellow star, a blue planet. "Earth, Class 12 Death World." The room went silent. Class 12 was the highest rating. Worlds where evolution had turned survival into art, where every creature fought for space and food and the right to breathe. "Impossible," Quiet Step said. "Humans are soft. They have no claws, no natural armor. They cannot even see in darkness. Yet they survived," Silverfang said softly. "On a Class 12 world, they not only survived, but thrived." "What does that tell you?" Broken Talon pulled up more data. Images of Earth creatures filled the screen. Massive predators with teeth like knives. Pack hunters that never stopped running. Ambush killers that struck from trees. Ocean beasts the size of ships. Humans lived among these, he said. More than lived. They hunted them. Killed them. Drove many to extinction. How? A Venom speaker asked. They have no venom. No speed. No strength. They have endurance. They have tools. They have pack coordination that surpasses even the fanged ones. Broken Talon changed the image. A human running across open ground, weapon in hand, chasing a creature 3 times its size. They can run for days. They never stop. They follow prey until it collapses from exhaustion. Then they kill it with stones and sticks. Silverfang's tail had stopped moving. Persistence hunters. Like the old stories. Yes, but worse. They learn to throw, to trap, to coordinate kills across vast distances. They eliminated every major predator on their world. Not through strength, but through being better at being predators than anything else. Quiet Step studied the images. And the small animal? The badger? Broken Talon found new data. The badger appeared on screen, shown next to other Earth creatures. It weighs perhaps 10 kilograms. It has no size advantage, no reach. Yet watch. Video played. A badger facing a creature 10 times its size. The larger animal attacked. The badger did not flee. It fought. It bit. It clawed. It made the larger creature regret the encounter, then walked away, victor through sheer refusal to lose. It fights above its weight, Silverfang said. Spite hunter. We have legends of such creatures from our homeworld. Animals so fierce that attacking them costs more than any gain? Evolution teaches predators to avoid them. Exactly. And humans keep them as companions. Not as weapons. As friends. The room absorbed this. A Venom speaker coiled tighter. You are saying our instincts recognize them. Recognize them as successful apex predators. I'm saying our instincts recognize them as more successful than us. My ancestors fought for territory on our homeworld. We won through strength and armor. Human ancestors fought on a deadlier world. They won through being too clever and too persistent to stop. The badger's ancestors won through being too dangerous to bother with. Both strategies worked better than ours. So we fear them, Quiet Step said. No, Silverfang stood, her old bones creaking. Not fear, respect, recognition. When a greater hunter enters territory, wise predators acknowledge it. We do not challenge, we observe, we learn. Broken Talon's scales slowly settled flat. Then what do? We watch. We protect them, as one apex protects another. We learn from them. And we thank the spirits that humans prefer peace. The meeting ended slowly. Predators filed out, each lost in thought. Broken Talon remained, staring at the image of Ruby and Digger on the screen. Somewhere above, the child was probably looking for the toy shop, completely unaware that the station's most dangerous residents had just declared her worthy of respect. Ruby's teacher had given her homework. Document 10 plants from different worlds, write down their names, and explain what made them special. It sounded fun. Ruby loved plants, especially the weird ones. The garden dome covered half a district. Inside, environmental controls created different zones. Desert plants grew in hot, dry air. Jungle plants thrived under artificial rain. Ruby had her scanner and her notebook. Digger had his harness and his curiosity. They walked through the entrance, passing under an arch covered in blue flowers. The air smelled sweet and green. Paths wound between raised beds and artificial streams. Other visitors moved quietly, respecting the peaceful atmosphere. Ruby found her first plant near the entrance, a tall thing with purple leaves that opened and closed like hands. She scanned it, reading the data. Waving willow from Tau Ceti 4, she said to Digger. It moves toward sunlight. Digger sniffed a nearby rock, judged it uninteresting, and moved on. They documented plants for an hour. Ruby filled 3 pages in her notebook, drawing careful pictures next to each description. Digger investigated every smell, his nose working constantly. Sometimes he found food that visitors had dropped. Ruby pretended not to notice when he ate it. A commotion drew her attention. Voices raised in alarm coming from the tropical section. Ruby looked that way, then at Digger. Should we check? Digger was already walking toward the noise. They found a crowd gathered at a safe distance. In the center of a clearing, a massive creature stood on 4 legs. It looked like a rhinoceros crossed with a turtle. Thick armor plates covered its back. A horn curved from its snout. Spikes ran down its spine. It was bigger than her father's transport. That's a thornback, someone said. They're supposed to be in containment. It got out again. Third time this week. Security can't catch it without hurting it. They keep trying to wait it out. The thornback swung its head, surveying the crowd. Its eyes were small and mean. It pawed the ground with one massive foot, leaving deep gouges in the soil. Several aliens backed away. Some left entirely. Ruby watched it for a moment. It looked sad. An insectoid creature nearby turned to look at her. Multiple eyes focused on Ruby and Digger. Sad? It is aggressive, territorial. It has injured 5 visitors. But why is it angry? Who knows? Perhaps it dislikes captivity. Perhaps this is simply its nature. Ruby walked forward. Behind her, the insectoid made a sound of alarm. Others in the crowd noticed. Someone shouted a warning. The thornback saw her immediately, its head lowered. The horn pointed in her direction, muscles bunched under armored plates. It snorted, breath coming out in hot blasts. Ruby kept walking. She held her scanner in one hand, her notebook in the other. Digger stayed beside her, matching her pace exactly. They crossed half the distance before the thornback charged. It came fast for something so large. The ground shook under its weight. The horn could punch through metal. Ruby heard screaming from the crowd, but could not tell if they were screaming at her or at the creature. Digger stepped forward. He did not run. He did not hide behind Ruby. He moved to place himself between her and the charging thornback. Then he sat down and stared. The thornback covered 20 meters in seconds, then 15, then 10. Its momentum carried it forward, unstoppable. 5 meters away, it tried to halt. Its feet dug trenches in the soil. Its weight fought against it. It slid to a stop 3 meters from where Digger sat. Digger did not move. His small eyes locked onto the thornback's larger ones. His body remained relaxed, unbothered. He looked at the massive creature the way someone might look at a mildly interesting rock. The thornback's breathing was loud and ragged. Its head stayed low, horn still pointed at them, but it did not advance. Seconds passed, then a minute. The creature's eyes darted from Digger to Ruby and back again. Ruby walked around Digger, approaching the thornback from the side. "Hi there, are you okay?" The thornback's eyes tracked her. Its body trembled, whether from rage or exertion or something else. Ruby could not tell. She reached out slowly. Her hand touched the armored plate on its shoulder. The thornback flinched but did not pull away. Ruby ran her hand along the plates, feeling where they connected. "You've got a crack here," she said. "Does it hurt?" The thornback made a low sound, almost a groan. Its front legs buckled slightly. Then, in a movement that shocked the watching crowd, it lay down. Its massive body settled onto the ground with a deep thud. Its head drooped until the horn rested in the dirt. Ruby knelt beside it, examining the cracked plate. "This must really hurt when you move. No wonder you're grumpy." Digger approached, sniffed the thornback's face, then sat down next to it. The thornback's eye followed the badger but showed no aggression. If anything, it looked tired. "Can someone get a medic?" Ruby called over her shoulder. "This animal is hurt." The crowd remained frozen. Security finally arrived, moving carefully. They stopped when they saw the scene. A human child kneeling next to the station's most aggressive creature. A small badger sitting calmly beside a beast that had charged 3 armed guards yesterday. The thornback lying in submission, breathing slowly. The head of security, a Krell named Swiftscale, approached with extreme caution. He saw the cracked plate immediately. "How did you know?" "It was obvious," Ruby said. "Hurt animals get mean. My teacher taught us that." Swiftscale called for a medical team. While they worked, Ruby petted both animals. Digger closed his eyes, enjoying the attention. The thornback made a sound like a purr, deep and rumbling. News of the incident spread before Ruby even left the dome. By evening, every resident of Crossroads Station had heard some version of the story. The human child had tamed the untamable. The small earth animal had stared down a creature 50 times its size. Predators and prey alike began to understand something fundamental. Ruby just wanted to finish her. Homework. Clicking-mind had not left the laboratory in 2 days. Food sat forgotten on the desk. Sleep was impossible when confronted with data this fascinating. The thoughtful one's multiple legs moved constantly, clicking against the floor as thoughts formed and reformed. Other researchers had gone home. They needed rest. Clicking Mind needed answers. The presentation was scheduled for morning. Station leadership would attend. Security chiefs, species representatives, all demanding to understand why their most dangerous residents were behaving strangely around 3 humans. Clicking Mind reviewed the data one more time. Earth's classification as a Class 12 death world was not disputed. What surprised everyone was learning what that truly meant. Most worlds evolved life in moderate conditions. Predators and prey reached equilibrium. Food chains established themselves. Balance emerged. Earth had no balance. Earth had war. Clicking Mind pulled up geological records. Every few million years, Earth's climate convulsed. Ice ages, heat waves, volcanic eruptions that blocked out the sun, meteor impacts that killed 90% of life. Species either adapted or vanished. Humans evolved during one of these nightmare periods. Ice covered half their world. Megafauna competed for dwindling resources: saber-toothed cats, cave bears, dire wolves, giant sloths, terror birds. Humans had no claws, no fangs, no armor. They had soft skin that tore easily. They moved slowly compared to real predators. They should have died. Instead, they started winning. Clicking Mind found archaeological evidence. Human hunting sites containing bones of every major predator on Earth. Not killed for food, killed for competition. Humans eliminated threats to their territory with systematic efficiency. They used tools, simple at first: rocks and sticks, then spears, then outlaws that let them throw spears farther than any creature could charge, then bows, always improving, always learning. They used fire, drove prey off cliffs, coordinated hunts across vast distances, run animals to exhaustion over days-long pursuits. They developed language to share knowledge, passing successful techniques to future generations. Within 20,000 years, most of Earth's megafauna was extinct. Humans did that. Soft, weak, slow humans. Clicking Mind added notes about persistence hunting. Other species sprinted. Humans jogged for hours. For days if necessary. Their prey would run until its heart gave out. Humans would find it dead and eat at their leisure. But the badger was different. Honey badgers evolved alongside humans. They watched apex predators eliminate competition and learned a different strategy. If you cannot be fast, be fierce. If you cannot be large, be relentless. If you cannot win every fight, make every fight too costly to start. Clicking Mind found videos. Badgers facing lions, facing hyenas, facing leopards. Each time, the badger fought with absolute commitment. It used teeth and claws and pure spite. Even when the larger predator won, it won injured. Evolution taught predators that badgers were not worth the effort. The presentation file grew. Clicking Mind added diagrams showing human eye placement, forward-facing, binocular vision for judging distance, classic pursuit predator setup. No prey animal had eyes like that. Human teeth, flat molars for grinding plants, sharp canines for tearing meat. Omnivore setup meant adapting to any food source. During ice ages, when plants died, humans ate meat exclusively. When prey vanished, they ate plants. They refused to be limited by diet. Human muscles, slow twitch fibers for endurance. Humans were not built for explosive power. They were built for going and going and going until everything else collapsed. The presentation included social structure analysis. Humans formed packs of unrelated individuals. They cooperated with strangers for mutual benefit. They shared food. They cared for injured pack members. They raised offspring communally. This meant human children grew up protected by entire communities. A threat to one human child was a threat to every adult. Pack response would be overwhelming. Clicking Mind added the final piece. Humans domesticated other apex predators. Wolves became dogs. Wild cats became house cats. They kept these creatures as companions, not weapons. This demonstrated both confidence and ability to form cross-species bonds. Badgers, however, were never fully domesticated. They remained wild, choosing to associate with humans. This partnership benefited both species. Humans provided protection and food. Badges provided warning and fierce defense. The presentation ended with predator recognition theory. All predator species evolved instincts to identify threats. Body language. Scent markers. Eye contact. Successful predators learn to recognize more successful predators and avoid conflict. Ruby and Digger triggered every marker simultaneously. Forward-facing eyes. Confident movement. Lack of fear response. Pack bonding. Protective instincts. The biological signal screamed apex predator to every species present. Logic said humans were not dangerous. Instinct said otherwise. Instinct 1. Morning arrived. Clicking Mind gathered files, practiced explanations, and headed to the conference room. Station leadership sat around a long table. Broken Talon stood against one wall, Silverfang near another. Representatives from dozens of species filled every available space. The station commander, a harmonious named Gentle Thought, gestured for attention. Her species valued peace above all else. Violence disturbed them physically. She looked tired. Researcher Clicking Mind has findings to share. We need to understand what is happening on this station. Why are our predator species behaving unusually around humans? Clicking Mind activated the display. Earth appeared, rotating slowly. I present research on humanity's homeworld and how evolution shaped their species. I also present findings on the honey badger, companion animal to the human child Ruby. What I discovered explains everything. The presentation ran for 40 minutes. Clicking Mind showed data, played videos, explained theories. The audience watched in growing understanding. Several predator species made sounds of recognition. Prey species looked increasingly nervous when the presentation ended. Silence filled the room. Finally, Silverfang spoke. You are saying humans won their world. Correct. Through intelligence, endurance, and cooperation, they became the dominant species. They did not do so through size or strength, but through being better at strategy than any competitor. Broken Talon's scales rippled. And our instincts recognize this. Yes, your species survived by recognizing superior predators. Humans and badgers both present markers of evolutionary success. Your reaction is appropriate biological response. Gentle Thought looked around the room. Then what do we do? We do what wise prey do, Clicking Mind said. We coexist peacefully. Fortunately, humans prefer cooperation to conflict. We should be grateful for this preference. The meeting dissolved into discussion. Clicking Mind packed up equipment, satisfied. The truth was known now. Somewhere above, Ruby was probably eating breakfast. Unaware she had become the subject of station-wide analysis, Sharp Edge did not believe in instinct. He believed in strength, skill, and the honor of his ancestors. The young Crow warrior had earned his name through combat trials, defeating every opponent in his age group. His scales bore no scars because no one had been skilled enough to mark him. The talk about humans made him angry. Warriors whispering, moving aside in corridors, showing deference to soft creatures with no claws. It was shameful. Weakness disguised as wisdom. He found Ruby's father in the diplomatic quarter. The human male was tall for his species but still shorter than Sharp Edge. He wore simple clothes, no armor. No weapons visible. I challenge you, Sharp Edge announced in clear common speech. Single combat. Arena rules. To prove humans are not apex predators. David looked up from his datapad. His expression showed confusion, then understanding, then resignation. I'm a diplomat, not a fighter. I don't want to fight you. You refuse? Sharp Edge's scales rose slightly. Your species claims respect through reputation. I offer you chance to prove this reputation earned, or prove it false. Other humans gathered. Ruby's mother appeared, her face concerned. Ruby herself peeked around a corner, Digger at her feet. This is unnecessary, David said. We're here to build relationships, not fight. Then you prove me correct. Humans are not warriors. Not apex. Just clever prey pretending otherwise. Silverfang pushed through the crowd. The old fanged one looked at Sharp Edge with disapproval. Foolish pup, you challenge what you do not understand. I understand fear masquerading as respect. Broken Talon arrived next. Sharp Edge. I order you to withdraw this challenge. You cannot. Challenge is issued. Station law says it must be answered or honor is forfeit. Sharp Edge turned back to David. What is your answer, human? David looked at his wife, at his daughter, at the growing crowd. His jaw tightened. Fine, I accept. No. Ruby stepped forward. Digger walked beside her, his gait rolling and unconcerned. I'll do it. Sharp Edge laughed. A child? This is joke? Station law says family members can stand as champions for others, Ruby said. My teacher told us about station customs. I'm family. I can accept the challenge from my daddy. David knelt down. Ruby, no. This isn't safe. But you're not a fighter. You said so. I have, Digger. Sweetheart, this is different. Ruby looked stubborn. Her mother recognized that expression and sighed. David, technically she's right. Station law does allow it. We cannot risk our daughter in a combat arena. Arena rules prohibit lethal force, Broken Talon said quietly. First to yield loses. If the human child chooses to stand as champion, law permits it. Sharp Edge's amusement faded. I will not fight a child. Then withdraw your challenge, Silverfang said. I withdraw nothing. But I will not strike a youngling. You don't have to strike me, Ruby said. You just have to make me yield first. Isn't that the rule? Sharp Edge looked trapped. To withdraw was shameful. To fight a child was dishonorable. To refuse meant the challenge stood unanswered forever. Very well, he said finally. Arena, 1 hour. This will be shortest fight in station history. The arena occupied neutral territory. A circular space surrounded by seats open to observers. Thousands gathered to watch. Word had spread instantly. Predator species arrived in force. Prey species watched from safe distances. Cameras recorded everything. Ruby walked onto the arena floor. She wore her regular clothes, no armor. Digger walked beside her, examining the sandy ground with interest. She waved at the crowd. Some waved back hesitantly. Sharp Edge entered from the opposite side. He had removed his armor, following tradition. His scales gleamed. Muscles moved under his skin. He was 200 pounds of evolutionary advantage. An official explained the rules. Fight until one yields. No lethal techniques. No weapons. Honor demands acceptance of yield. Begin when ready. Sharp Edge moved to the center. He dropped into a combat stance, claws extended. His eyes focused on Ruby with determination. He would make this quick. Force her to yield through intimidation. No one would be hurt. Ruby walked forward, humming a song from home. Something about stars and wishes. Digger stayed at her side, his attention divided between Sharp Edge and an interesting smell near the wall. Sharp Edge raised his claws and roared. The sound echoed through the arena, a challenge roar meant to terrify prey. It was the sound his ancestors used before battle. Ruby stopped humming. Wow, you're loud. She kept walking. Digger sat down and began grooming his face, using one paw to clean behind his ears. Sharp Edge felt it then. The same thing Broken Talon described. The same thing Silverfang warned about. His roar faded. The sound felt wrong suddenly. Not threatening, desperate, Ruby stood 5 feet away. She looked up at him with simple curiosity. Are you ready? I don't really know what I'm supposed to do. Sharp Edge tried to take a threatening step forward. His body would not obey. His scales had risen to maximum extension. His pupils were fully dilated. His claws, extended for combat, began to retract involuntarily. Digger finished grooming. He looked at Sharp Edge, yawned, and lay down in the sand. His eyes closed. Sharp Edge's threat display collapsed. His stance straightened. His body language shifted from aggressive to neutral. He tried to force his scales to stay raised. They flattened against his body. Every instinct screamed at him. Not run. Not fight, submit, I yield. His voice came out as a whisper. Ruby tilted her head. Really? We didn't even do anything. I yield, he said louder. To the officials. To the crowd. To everyone watching. The human child wins. Challenge answered. He turned and walked from the arena, moving quickly. His tail dragged in the sand. Behind him, Ruby looked at Digger. I guess we won? Can we get ice cream now? The crowd erupted. Not in cheers. In a sound that crossed species, understanding, acceptance, respect, Broken Talon met Sharp Edge at the arena exit. Now you understand? Sharp Edge nodded, his scales still flat. Instinct does not lie. I could not challenge them. My body refused. Good, you learned without injury. Many are not so fortunate. In the arena, Ruby picked up Digger and waved at the crowd again. She had no idea what had just happened. She just knew her dad was safe in ice. Cream was probably next. The footage would circulate for years, 3 months. Changed everything. Ruby walked through the market district, swinging her bag of art supplies. Digger trotted beside her, stopping occasionally to investigate interesting smells. They moved through crowds that parted naturally, not from fear now, but from recognition. A Krell warrior nodded as they passed. A fanged one-pup crept close, wanting to sniff Digger, then scampered back to its mother. Clawmasters watched from high perches, their eyes tracking movement but their postures relaxed. Ruby had become part of station life. She attended school with other young aliens. She played in the recreation areas. She helped her parents at diplomatic functions, charming species representatives with her questions about their homeworlds. Digger had his own reputation. Station residents knew to leave food offerings near his favorite spots. Children drew pictures of him. One merchant made toys based on his likeness. Digger ignored the attention, focused on his daily routine of napping, eating, and investigating everything. Life was normal now. Better than normal. Then pirates arrived. The alarm caught everyone off guard. Pirates rarely attacked crossroads. Too many species. Too much security. Too risky, but a desperate crew had tried anyway. 3 ships appeared on sensors, demanding cargo and credits. Station defenses engaged. Shots were fired. A human family was caught at the docking ring during the attack. Parents and 2 children just arrived for vacation. They had no warning. No time to reach safety. Pirates breached the outer lock, trying to take hostages. The family ran, but pirates were faster. Weapons charged. Commands shouted in harsh voices. Security was still minutes away. The family turned a corner and found something unexpected. Broken Talon stood in the corridor. Behind him, a dozen Krell warriors fully armed and armored. Beside them, Silver Fang with her entire pack. Clawmasters dropped from ceiling vents. Venom speakers rose from floor grates. Every major predator species on the station, all positioned between the pirates and the human family. The pirates stopped. Weapons pointed forward, but fingers frozen on triggers. You have made an error, Broken Talon said. His voice carried absolute certainty. Turn around. Leave this station. Never return. Stand aside, the pirate leader said. His voice shook slightly. We have weapons. So do we. But weapons are not what you should fear. Silverfang moved forward. Her pack spread out, covering every angle. You threaten humans. That is unwise. They're just humans. Prey species? No. Broken Talon's scales rose. They are apex. They are recognized. They are protected. By all of us. The pirates looked at the assembled predators. Species that normally competed for territory, standing together. Warriors from a dozen worlds, unified by a single purpose. You would fight us over prey? The pirate leader asked. We would fight anyone over them, Silverfang said. Do you accept this truth or test it? The pirates tested nothing. They backed away, weapons lowering. They retreated to their ships and fled. Station defenses let them go. No shots needed. The human family was escorted to safety. Ruby heard about it from her father that evening. Why did they help? She asked. We don't have any special deal with those species. David sat on her bed trying to find words. Because they respect us. Not because we force them. Because they chose to, but why? Because we're from Earth, honey. And Earth made us different. It made us strong in ways they understand. Ruby thought about this. Digger's from Earth too. Yes, and that matters more than you know. The next day, Ruby proposed an idea to her teacher. A special event. Pet Day, where humans introduced other Earth animals to station residents. The response was overwhelming. People wanted to see, to understand. To meet these creatures from the famous Death World, families brought dogs of various sizes. Cats, sleek and independent. Ferrets, curious and playful. Even someone brought a parrot that swore in 3 languages. Station residents approached cautiously. They observed behavior. They noted characteristics: dogs with forward-facing eyes, powerful jaws, and pack coordination. Descended from wolves. Apex predators that humans had befriended so completely that they evolved alongside humans for thousands of years. Cats with retractable claws, silent movement, and ambush instincts. Perfect solitary hunters that chose to live with humans despite not needing them for survival. Ferrets with endless energy and fearless curiosity. Small predators that hunted creatures in their own burrows. Every animal displayed traits that marked them as evolutionary success stories, and humans kept them all as family. Clicking Mind gave another presentation that week. Earth, where apex predators keep other apex predators as companions. The title said everything. The paper circulated throughout the sector. Other stations requested copies. Scientists debated the implications. Philosophers discussed what it meant for cross-species cooperation. Ruby just played with her friends, both human and alien. She taught a young fanged one how to play catch. She helped a thoughtful one understand human games. She shared her lunch with anyone who asked. Digger slept through most of it, comfortable in the sun streaming through a viewport. Weeks later, Ruby and Digger walked through the main concourse. The same path they had taken on that first day. The same fountain where Broken Talon had first felt the instinctive recognition. They passed merchants and travelers, workers and residents. Each one acknowledged them in their own way. A nod, a gesture, a word of greeting. Ruby smiled at everyone. Digger ignored everyone, focused on the food cart ahead. High above, on a maintenance platform, Broken Talon and Silverfang watched the child pass. She still does not understand, Broken Talon said. Good, Silverfang replied. Let her remain innocent. The galaxy needs that innocence. Humans could dominate if they wished. Earth gave them every tool needed. Yes, but Earth also taught them empathy, cooperation, care for other species. That is their true strength. Broken Talon's scales rippled in agreement. I am grateful humans prefer peace. We all are, friend. We all are. Below, Ruby bought Digger a treat from the food cart. The vendor, a nervous herbivore species, had learned to keep special items in stock. Digger's favorites. Ruby thanked the vendor, paid with her allowance, and continued on her way. She had homework to finish. Friends to meet. A whole station to explore. Just another day in her life. Just another walk through the station, while apex predators watched over her. Grateful she was too innocent to know her own power and too kind to use it even if she did.